Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. Red has taken the box home that they dug up, and she has decided she is going to tell her mother and ask for help. When Red mentions it the next morning, her mother's face goes very pale. The Transfer Student, Part 18. Red watched as her mother's face turned pale. It was like all the color drained from her cheeks in an instant. Red knew this reaction wasn't a good sign. The air between them felt heavy, as if the weight of the universe had just been placed on their kitchen table. "You are being serious?" her mother asked slowly, carefully choosing her words. Red's mother never got angry, even when Blue's antics caused chaos around the house. She always tried to educate and look on the bright side of things. Let us make mistakes and figure things out on our own. Of course, life on Mars was tightly controlled out of necessity, so not that many serious mistakes could be made. If what you found really is from Mars, you understand the implications, right? You know how delicate our situation is here on Earth and how lucky we are. Not everyone won the lottery. Red nodded her head in acknowledgement. Red's mother let out a big sigh. If I have to put up with those two from AID standing in my kitchen again, well, I just don't know what I will do. Red took a deep breath, feeling a knot tighten in her stomach. "I know, Mom, but maybe it's just all for fun?" It wouldn't be the first time in Earth's history that someone thought they were communicating with green aliens from outer space. Red's mother laughed, letting the tension out of her body. "That is true. Where is the box you found now? I'll have a look. I have never heard of any early communication with Earth. It was always strictly forbidden, and as far as I know, there wasn't even a way to communicate with people until very recently." Red stood up, glancing toward the stairs. "I left it in my room. I'll grab it so you can see what's inside." She almost tripped over one of Blue's toys as she made her way up the stairs to her bedroom. Where was that stinker anyways? He was always making noise and running around. Whenever he was quiet, it meant he was plotting some trick. Walking into her bedroom, Red walked straight to her bed, lifting the edge of the blanket so that she could reach underneath to grab the box. Except it wasn't there. Red started to panic. Had she misplaced it, or had someone taken it? She was sure she put it under her bed last night. She was tired, but not that tired. The AID? They couldn't possibly have found out so quickly and snuck into her room in the middle of the night while she was sleeping and confiscated it. Even they wouldn't do something like that. They would prefer to make a grand entrance and wake everyone up. Red's thoughts next went to Blue. He had a knack for taking things without asking. She remembered the morning chaos and how Blue had been running around like the stinky head he was. Could he have been nosy, seen the strange box and taken it? Trying to stay calm, Red returned to the kitchen where her mother was waiting. She thought it was best if her mother asked Blue. He would listen to her. "Mom, it's gone," Red said, unable to hide the worry in her voice. "I can't find the box where I left it. It's just disappeared. The gang gave me the box to look after. I can't let them down." Her mother's eyes widened slightly, and she put a comforting hand on Red's shoulder. "Okay, let's not panic. Maybe you just put it somewhere else." "I've checked everywhere it could be," Red replied, frustration seeping into her voice. "What if Blue took it? He's always getting into my stuff, and he breaks everything." Her mother nodded thoughtfully. "That's possible. We'll check with him first. He's always interested in what you do, even if you don't always approve." Red let out a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. "Yeah, Blue's a big stinker." "Red, be nice. He is your brother." Together, they set off to search for Blue, hoping he'd have the box and that this was all just another one of his innocent pranks. The alternative was too unthinkable. Walking up the stairs, they found the door to Blue's room closed, with a great big sign on the door that read, "No stinky heads allowed." Red's mother knocked on the door. "Blue, are you in there?" she calmly asked. "No one in here by that name," Blue said with a changed voice. He was trying to make it sound deeper than it really was. Losing patience, Red said, "Blue, you are such a stinky head. We are looking for something of mine that you probably snuck from my room." Opening his bedroom door, Red and her mother found Blue sitting on the floor with the box open and some of the objects spread out in front of him. "Hey, you aren't supposed to come in here," Blue complained to Red. "And you aren't supposed to take things from my room," Red yelled. "Please, both of you, calm down before you get upset. Red, stop calling your brother names. You are too old to use such language. Blue, you shouldn't be taking things from your sister's room. Please put everything back in the box," Red's mother said with a sigh. As Red stood there with her arms folded, Blue slowly put everything back into the box and handed it to his mother. It was boring stuff anyway, just like everything else in Red's room, Blue said, as he stuck his tongue out at Red when their mother wasn't looking. "Yeah, right," Red said, as she stomped out of Blue's room. Downstairs at the kitchen table, Red's mother opened the box and started to look at what was inside. The first thing she pulled out was the stack of old, faded photographs. Each image showed the observatory and various astronomical equipment, with Dr. Hart herself appearing in a few. She was always smiling, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. "These look like they were taken ages ago," Red's mother said, passing a photo to Red. "But nothing here screams green people from Mars." Red examined the photograph closely, noting the details of the equipment. "Yeah, just normal telescopes and charts. I think much of her work was at the start of the last century, so they are even older than you and Dad." Red's mother cleared her throat. "I was joking," Red said with her first smile of the day. Next, her mother pulled out the collection of handwritten journal entries, carefully preserved in a leather-bound notebook. The handwriting was neat and precise, each entry dated and filled with detailed observations of the night sky. Dr. Hart's words revealed a passion for astronomy that was both infectious and captivating. "Listen to this," Red's mother said, reading aloud. April 3rd, 1912. "I observed unusual movements in the night sky lights that danced in formations, unrecorded in my previous observations. It is as if the stars themselves are trying to communicate." "That sounds kind of mysterious," Red said, intrigued. "But it could just be about some unusual celestial event, right?" Her mother nodded. "Could be, but it does make you wonder. What did she think she was seeing?" They continued through the journal, finding more entries that described Dr. Hart's observations of the night sky. One entry mentioned a peculiar signal she believed she received through her telescope. Still, her mother dismissed it as more likely being radio interference or a natural phenomena. Then Red's mother paused at an entry marked May 1st, 1912. "Here's something interesting," she said. "I've deciphered a pattern in the signals. It repeats every 2 nights, always at the same time. Could it be an attempt at communication? I must delve deeper." Red leaned in, her curiosity piqued. That sounds like she really thought she was receiving messages. Her mother frowned slightly, considering the implications. "I suppose it's possible she was picking up something unexplained, but it's hard to say." They found a few more entries that hinted at Dr. Hart's belief in communication from beyond Earth, though nothing concrete about Mars itself. The last entry they read spoke of an encounter at the observatory where she felt a presence watching her, though she chalked it up to her imagination. Red's mother closed the journal gently. "Well, there's nothing here that definitely proves anything about Martians. It's all very intriguing, but without more, it's just a story." Red nodded, feeling a mix of relief and disappointment. "So what do we do now? Tell the gang it was a false alarm?" "Maybe not a false alarm, just a different kind of mystery," her mother suggested with a smile. "Dr. Hart was an interesting person, and her work is fascinating. You and your friends can still explore that, even if it's not about Mars." Red sighed, feeling the weight of expectations lift slightly. "But what about the other things in the box? The metal objects with the fancy engraving? Charlie thought one might be a ray gun." "Charlie has a great imagination," Red's mother replied. Her mother picked up one of the metal objects and turned it over in her hands. The engraving was intricate, a swirling pattern that could seem alien due to its complexity. Yet it was worn and tarnished, clearly old and of earthly origin. "These are interesting," her mother said thoughtfully, "but they're not from Mars. They're more likely pieces from some other, I don't know what, but from Earth's past. People have been creating intricate designs for centuries, and it's easy to attribute them to something mysterious when we don't understand them at first glance." Red leaned closer, examining the object. "Maybe it's from some old machine or tool." Her mother nodded. Any real device from Mars would require a power source. They wouldn't just be standalone objects without some form of energy to function. You've seen how our technology works here and on Mars. Everything needs power. "Yeah, I didn't have much time to think about it. The gang seemed so excited." Her mother smiled gently. "It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the unknown, but sometimes the mystery is closer to home, rooted in Earth's history and creativity. Red nodded, feeling a bit more grounded. Okay, I'll talk to the gang and let them know we need to approach this differently. We could learn more about Dr. Hart and what happened to her. That sounds like a great idea, Red's mother said. Looking at Red's face, she asked, "What's wrong? Shouldn't you be relieved that what you found has nothing to do with where you came from?" "Yes, but when I first came here, I thought all the secrecy was silly, but I just accepted it because I didn't want to be here in the first place. Now, I am starting to make friends, and it feels wrong to keep secrets from them. I wish we could leave here and go back home, go back to the gray and leave all this ugly color behind." "This is our home now, Red, and you know there is no going back. We couldn't even if we wanted to, and you know we must keep our origins a secret." Before Red's mother could finish her sentence, a loud knock echoed through the house. Who could that be? Red's mother wondered aloud as she walked toward the front door. When she opened it, she was greeted by the imposing figures of Ms. Misty and Mr. Shade from the AID Bureau, their expressions as unreadable as ever. And that is the end of this part. Good night. Sleep tight.